Here we go.
You got it.
Are you wrapping cars for 12 hours a day, every day? Is your social life non-existent? Are you barely making enough money to get by, if that? Are you drained, burned out, wondering how long you can keep this up? Well, so are we. My name is Andrew Banks.
And I'm Tanor Banks. And this is the WrapOps Podcast, where we don't really care about which car is the coolest one in the industry to wrap or the trendiest film on the market. This is a podcast about building a wrap business that actually works for you. We're here to help you dial in the business side of your business and your wrap shop because you deserve a break, and we're going to help you do just that. All right. Welcome to the first ever episode on the WrapOps Podcast.
Woo!
How are you feeling?
Good. This has been a long time coming. I know this has been an idea for a long time, and then honestly, execution is a lot harder than you would think. So I'm happy that we are finally here and recording the first one, eating the elephant here, or eating the frog.
So this episode is really just about giving you guys our backstory of where we came from, why we're here, why we're doing this. And I prepped some questions to ask Andrew about our story. And of course, I will chime in there too. So to kick things off, Andrew, how did we first meet?
How did we first meet? So that would go, technically, we first met in middle school and started dating sophomore year of high school.
Junior year, but close.
Sophomore summer. I think I would have a technicality there by like a day and a half.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're married now. So just to give our relationship.
Yeah.
So we are business owners, but we are also married, which is pretty similar in the wrap industry to other business owners for sure, which we recognize as an interesting dynamic as well to the business. And I think having a resource that is dealing with the personal side along with the business side could also be helpful. And so hopefully you find some value in this if you are in a similar circumstance, and even if you're not. So, can you tell the listeners about our involvement in the wrap industry, what we do, and how it all began?
Yeah. So our biggest involvement in the wrap industry is obviously our standalone brick and mortar wrap shop, Performance Wraps, out of Dayton, Ohio. Outside of that, we really have gotten involved in many ways through different like ISA committees, very heavily involved with the Wrap Institute. I'm one of their endorsed trainers. Started as just a member, learned kind of from those people within the industry. But our biggest flag in the ground at this point within the industry is Performance Wraps. We run an actual wrap shop.
And what year did that start, and how did Performance Wrap start?
Fun. So 2017 is when it started, and to put it to a hook that I don't know, could write a book on it later, is I essentially bought a drug front from a con man at the age of 20 years old.
Can you give more details?
And give a lot more details on that. So I had a lawn care company in high school, which obviously helped me come up with the logo, and entrepreneur days go all the way back to that. But out of high school, I decided to pursue that lawn care company full time. Went to what I thought was a reputable business of performance wraps to get a truck lettered. And within like 30 days, the guy talked me into buying the place. And I would say 30 days after that, I learned what I actually bought. It wasn't a real business, it was just a front. You can look it up, state of Ohio. I'm the only public record showing owner of Performance Wraps. It legitimately was not a real business before that.
All right, so you bought this business, and then can you kind of describe, I guess, what did those early days look like? Like, was there a huge client list? Did you inherit 4 employees? What did the shop look like? Can you kind of paint that picture?
So there was no employees. There was a printer, there was a laminator, and there was a 1,500 square foot shop that I was renting. The landlord was ecstatic to get a new tenant because apparently rents had not been paid for a while prior to me taking over. And the what I thought was an awesome client list really was just a bunch of disgruntled people that would not take my call. There were a few customers within that I was grateful to, like legitimately like two or three customers that we have now would have been on that original list. I can literally give you their first and last name because there's two of them. So yeah, client list was more of a disgruntled customer list than a client list.
Yeah.
And that's essentially what I got. Their early years was super rough. Like I didn't know how to wrap, so like let's start there. Like I mowed grass and then
So why
bought a
did
wrap shop.
you buy a wrap shop if you didn't know how to wrap?
Ignorance probably. So I shouldn't have. I was naive.
What was your plan to learn how to wrap?
So I previous owner was supposed to stay on for, I believe it was a 1 or 2 year term to fully teach me the trade. I had taken a digital design course in high school, so I messed around with Illustrator a little bit. So
Yeah.
I felt confident in the design aspect. And I was naive that learning how to wrap was going to be something that was quick and easy to do. So, it,
The fatal sentence that
yeah.
everyone says, like, this is harder than it
Yeah,
looks.
yeah, exactly. No, but it was back against the wall, like had to try to make things work. So definitely was harder than it looks, but there was also, from the lawn care standpoint, there was payroll, there was rents, there
Yeah, so
was,
that's a important thing to highlight there. So
yeah,
you still had the lawn care business. It's not
yeah,
like you sold lawn care and got into performance wrap. So you had two going
hmm,
at one time. And to kind of paint me into the picture of this story. So I was in college
hmm,
and we were talking all the time. We were actually broken up at the time. So we dated in high school, broke up in college, but kept talking to each other 24/7. And just trying to figure out what I was going to do in life. I wasn't able to afford my senior year of college, and I was working at a hotel at the time and talking to you all night because I worked
yeah,
third shift and you were up all night rapping. And I knew you were doing really bad and I wasn't doing bad. So I was like, hey, do you want help running this thing? Which is so funny looking back at that sentence because I don't know what I thought that meant, but it did not mean what ended up happening. And you were like, absolutely. Showed up 2 weeks later with a pair of underwear and a Walmart bag.
hmm,
That was all he brought as his frontier carry on in your toothbrush.
yeah.
And picked me up in a box truck. We went and rented the box truck and moved me up to Ohio. And so that was how 2 weeks later I kind of joined Performance Wraps. And so that was right when the legal battle with the previous owner ended, like kind of like perfect
Yeah, it was pretty much right at
timing.
the end of that. So give
Yeah.
or take, and that took anywhere, I can't remember the exacts at this point, 12 to 18 months from the original
Yeah.
purchase to about that time. And at that point, what performance wraps looked like was, I mean, I didn't have a home. Like I lived on a futon in the back of the shop. I, like my closet
What's the
was in the
reasoning
furnace.
for that? What, because of the legal fees?
Yeah, I literally couldn't
Yeah.
afford to live anywhere else.
What was the
And
debt?
it ended up, so dust settled at about $250,000 worth of debt. And what's, I think your story from this is what kind of pulled that trigger of like, oh, you were going to just come help me, was me getting up into a sink with a garden hose, like a utility sink that I'd fastened a garden hose to and like a hook on the wall
That
to
was the
like
shower.
shower in the utility sink.
It was the saddest thing I've ever seen. It,
Uh,
it was very sad.
it was sad,
It was sad.
but
He had a dog at the time. Well, we still
yeah,
have
yeah,
her,
yeah,
Penny.
Penny.
Yeah, so we
Uh,
still have Penny. But
so
yeah, poor Penny. She had to live there too.
yeah, no, and I have
And then I got
stories.
dragged into it.
I was gonna say from the penny standpoint, I have stories where I literally was like waiting on checks to clear to get her dog food. So we were like,
She ate a lot of eggs.
yeah, it
Back
was
when
like,
eggs were cheap.
yeah, eggs aren't cheap anymore, but back then eggs were cheap, and that was just what I had in the
Like 60
fridge.
cents a dozen or something back
Something,
then. Something
yeah, it
crazy.
was cheap. And then
She loves eggs
she
though.
does love eggs, but yeah, no, that's I hate that it happened to us, but I'm grateful that each of us hit rock bottom at the same time
Yeah,
because
that's
I
how it
don't
worked
think
out.
this would have worked if everything was going perfect for you, there would have been no reason for you to drop everything and gamble on
Yeah,
me. And to your point of you not knowing what you were getting yourself into.
that worked out in my favor. We both did that in a weird way.
Mhm.
You did it with buying the business, and I did it with walking into the
Yeah.
business. I thought, oh, I'm going to come and I'll run the front, I'll clean up a little bit. He's got this, it'll be fine. And I showed up, and that was not the case at
she
all.
she thought it was a Monday to Friday 9 to 5 job.
I did. So we were working about 20-hour days. We would sleep for about 4 hours. And we used to hide our blankets because we slept on the couch in the front of the shop. We used to hide our blankets from customers so that they didn't know
Mhm.
that we slept there. And the front of this shop was just all glass, like a glass storefront. So it was really funny because sometimes people would show up after hours and like look in the window and our dog's just going off and we're like hiding on the
Yep.
couch
Yep.
because we don't want them to know that we're there because it'll be like 8 o'clock at night or something, and we lived there. So sometimes it was kind of weird because you would almost close just out of wanting a minute to yourself,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know.
That's 100%.
Even though Andrew's joke was always, "If I'm here, I'll sell to you."
Yeah.
So
If I'm
most of
here,
the
I'll
time it
sell.
was a fight because I'm like, "Keep the door locked," and he's like, "No, no, no, I'm gonna sell. I'm
Mhm.
gonna sell." It's okay. And to preface also something that you didn't bring up, but maybe if there's other wives or girlfriends out there that care about the cleanliness of the building, this building was gross.
Oh, yeah.
It was so gross. The floors were not even like concrete floors. They were like, I don't know, it was like the concrete like shredded. I don't, how do you word that? Like it was like ground up concrete. Like,
Basically, the concrete had turned to gravel.
yeah, pretty much.
It was
So
pretty rough.
we have pictures of when we did hire an employee of him wrapping on cardboard boxes. And to this day, I think about that and just feel horrible. And I think about where our shop is now, and I'm like, oh, you guys are
Yeah.
spoiled.
And to
Because we were wrapping in dirt.
I was just saying, even to so outside, like, obviously, your concrete deteriorating to gravel, like, you probably don't have a ton to be able to really do with that. So the dirt was just like from the way it was ran previously. So like
Yeah. There was
all of
no like
our
cleaning it.
yeah, all of
Like
our
the floors needed redone.
oh, it was bad. Like
Yeah.
just the walls were like cigarettes were just smoked inside of it. So the walls were just permanently stained.
And it
All of our
spread
rolly
onto the
chairs.
vehicles too. Like we
Oh
would
yeah.
clean and prep a car and overnight caked in dust,
Hmm.
which was really frustrating
Yeah.
in those early days. And sorry to interrupt you, but something else that wasn't mentioned too is the height of our garage door and whatnot. So a lot of box trucks and things did not fit inside. So we have a lot of fun pictures of us outside at 4 in the morning at 30 degrees, doing a removal or an installer on the side of this little retention wall
Mm.
trying to install a wrap. And so that wasn't fun either,
Yeah.
just that the shop was so small.
The all-nighters were normal. Like we would I mean, it got to the point where we actually knew what 40 hours straight felt like from like a body fatigue and all of it. It's just like we did it so much that it got to the point where when your body would hit 32 hours straight, like we just understood that level of fatigue and we're
Yeah.
used to it.
And I
So
remember at the time, a lot of family and friends were like genuinely concerned, but it was really weird because in our mind, we were like, we're fine.
yeah, it's like
Like
we're just getting
it's,
through.
yeah, we're getting through, but it almost felt normal to us. But I have a lot of memories of me wrapping cars and just bawling,
Mm.
like just because I was like, I just want to break so bad. But like we literally couldn't get a break because the phones are ringing nonstop with the debt collectors.
Yep.
Then the other hard part that you mentioned, but just to kind of like connect the dots here, is we didn't know how to wrap.
Yeah.
So we're wrapping cars, we're giving them to customers. So of course people are coming back just pissed off
Hmm.
at, the quality of the wrap.
Yep.
We don't have the money in the bank account to refund them, which might be like your easy, like, oh, let's get rid of this problem customer. We're just going to refund them.
Yeah.
That wasn't the case. So then we're like, okay, we'll redo it. So we're putting more wrap material, whatever
On
the
credit
color was,
cards.
on
Yeah.
a credit card, doing it again. My famous is back in the famous story is the Young Dolph wrap that I'm sure every single wrap shop has done.
Yep.
We wrapped a Challenger
Yeah.
in the Young Dolph camo wrap
Yep.
3 times
Hmm.
because he kept coming back saying, hey, it's peeling, which, Dodge Challenger bumper, that
Right.
there was no reason we should have been wrapping that.
Yeah.
And we figured it out, and now we know all the secrets to it.
Yeah.
But
And shout out Atlanta Custom Reps. That's definitely where that young Dolph trend came from and originated from. And like,
you got us some business in
yeah,
Ohio.
you gave us like you literally put food on my table with some of those
Well,
jobs.
I don't know that specific job
That one,
lost money.
that one was bad, but the amount of customers that came in and like that was their inspiration photo.
Yeah.
That trend, that trend fed Penny for a minute. So Elena Customs,
Yeah.
thank you. That helped us out there.
Mhm.
And so I think all that to say from the kind of listener standpoint, like if you're pulling those all nighters, if you're living in the back of the shop, if you're putting material on credit cards, like I feel you. Like
Yeah, this
and
isn't a
intimately,
Mediterranean
we
story.
get it. We get it. Like we've been there. That's rough.
Yeah. And then the other thing is too, we were completely running the business just absolutely by the seat of our pants.
Yeah.
There was no formal quoting, no formal system, no pre and post inspection, no method to even track if we were making money.
Mhm.
Just absolutely nothing. And the first systems really came about when I tried to take over the front because he knew how to wrap more than me because you had a 12, 18-month head start.
Yep.
And I was like, okay, well, I'll try to keep selling while you wrap. So how do I price an SUV? And Andrew would tell me one answer. and I'd give the customer the quote. And then a very similar car would come in and I would say, okay, this is the quote I came up with based off, no, 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 it should be this. And I'm like, that's not what you said on this guy. And it took a million of those moments
Mhm.
to even figure out pricing. And it was just strictly like pulling out of his head. And then after that, then we kind of started getting our legs of like, okay, we started to have to redo things because we didn't get formal design approval or we
Yep.
didn't do a color check and all of these ways
Or we
that
didn't post heat.
post heating was
If
even,
you're wrapping, you need post heating.
yeah.
What are you doing?
But all of these come back to systems. So in those early days, there were no systems. So almost every system that you will hear us talk about in this podcast came out of complete necessity.
Mhm.
Almost every single one involves a couple. I say nightmare customers, but when I look back at the customers that pushed us that hard, they're the reason a system came about.
Yep.
So you kind of look back at them and are like, that needed to fall apart so that this could be built.
Yeah.
Even though in the moment, it's just like, great, I'm rewrapping an entire fleet because I didn't do a color check on my gray or whatever it might
Mhm.
be. But then you get to build that system and move forward later on. And then one other thing that we didn't touch on is just what was our personal life like during those days?
Personal life?
Exactly.
To put it in perspective, she had shared the story of me literally getting a one-way ticket down to you with a Walmart bag to drive that U-Haul truck up to unload. At the time, at this point, when you came on, we did get an apartment. I don't just to kind of tie things there. We did stop living at the shop that was my first employee's relocation negotiation. Was she was
Didn't last long though because then we moved right back into the shop, but that's a different
Yeah, we'll get down that path. But that was my first employee's relocation negotiation was that she was not going to live in the shop. So um, started renting a house. And to my point of you asked how was our personal life, we never fully unpacked that truck. Like we unloaded the truck into the house, and your stuff stayed in boxes for the entirety of the time we lived in that house.
At least my stuff was in boxes. Andrew had his stuff spread throughout his parents' house, his friend's house, his
Yeah,
grandma's house.
yeah,
Go rally up all of
yeah,
your belongings,
yeah.
in which he did not pack in boxes. He packed in kitchen cabinets. That was the most crazy
Just anything I
bachelor
could
thing I've
find.
ever
Yeah,
seen in my
anything I
life.
could find. If
I
I
was like,
could
what in
fit
the
stuff in
world?
it, I'd fit stuff in.
But yeah, there was no personal life at all. I remember me and you getting into big fights because I couldn't even convince him to take Christmas off.
Mhm.
So
Christmas is a phenomenal time to get your books in order and stuff like that.
I'm sorry I
So
said that.
that was the perfect time of like let me reconcile the entire year's worth of transactions to get my receipts ready for tax time.
Yeah.
Christmas is the perfect window to do that.
So I have to say, Andrew's definitely the workhorse. I try to keep up with him.
Mm.
My joke is that Andrew's sprinting a marathon and I'm just kind of shackled to his ankle, just dragging me along. Every now and then I like get up and I'm sprinting too. And then you just have this like incredible ability to just work through pain that I personally have not ever seen
Yeah, you
anyone
deserve
else.
more credit than you give yourself.
Well, thank you. But I learned from you. So, but at the same time, I'm also on the other end trying to pitch, hey, this isn't normal. We should have a life outside of this because what is the point of owning your own business if you would be happier off having your 9 to 5 type thing? And that was kind of my big thing. And so, one of your motivating sentences that you have always said is, we're doing this for future us.
Yeah,
Current us is miserable, but we're doing it for later.
yeah,
So, we've always clung to that. And we're not fully in the later, but
we're getting there.
we've
We're on
had the
track.
business. So I've been in the business 7. You've had it about 8 or 9,
Mhm.
and things are definitely looking up. So in that vein, how are things today? What does our shop look like? What are we doing?
Much better than the futon years for sure. So we have obviously eh, anyone out there that has a staff and employees, you know, it fluctuates, but we're fluctuating around 10 employees at the moment. Um, Things are going very well. We have 2 new hires, like just sent them a, welcome to the team, packet like literally this week. So 2 new hires coming. Um, we're good. We're doing really well. So
Well,
uh,
kind of answering those similar questions. What does our shop look like? Are we in the same building?
yeah, no, that's fair. So to dive into that, we were in that 1,500 square foot rented shop. We're in an 8,000 square foot shop that can fit a full semi, and the bank owns it for the next 25 years, but we will own that building at some point. And from a revenue standpoint, I mean, we're pretty much flirting with that $1 million a year mark. So um, yeah, it's a huge shift from what we were before, where it was just us and living on the back of the futon, whatever, what, from 2017. So what was that 8 years ago? That
Yeah.
is when that started. So yeah, and we had a pretty big hurdle there with that $250,000 in debt and all of that. Like, I wish I could just erase that. And I almost feel like our start line, like we started behind the start line, and it took us 5 years just to get to the start line of the race. Uh,
And it doesn't help too that I brought my own fund debt into this
yeah,
situation as well. So I have a ton of student debt from thinking it was a smart decision to go out of state for college. So that's also a
yeah.
little factor if there's anyone out there listening who also has student debt or other debt from maybe a different situation that you were in before. So awesome. And then what do you think about our personal life? How is that different than 2017?
We have one. So like that, yeah, that's pretty much the
Yeah,
biggest thing. Like we have, regular date nights. We just this year for the first time, we put a camper at the lake. So we are able to,
camping.
yeah, we're not to the point.
Every now and then we take a Friday off.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Crazy.
we're not taking weeks off, but every now
Yeah.
and then we a couple times a year at this point, we're taking a Friday off, taking a long weekend at the lake. So yeah, things are.
We prioritize sleep. That's a huge
Oh yeah,
difference. Yeah, we
that's.
don't sacrifice sleep anymore.
Man, that's actually probably the biggest indicator from what it was like till now. I mean, I cannot stress to you enough that we literally strategized our all-nighters. It wasn't like this random incident, like we got to go pull an all-nighter. It was like, all right, strategically, if we take our all-nighter from Monday to Tuesday, then we can swing into those 2 days. We'll get some sleep on Tuesday night, which then should allow us to be rested enough to do it again Friday, Thursday to Friday. Like, we got strategic with how many all-nighters we could pull in one week, which is
Yeah.
not healthy. I don't advise that. The whole point of this podcast is to give back and, hopefully save some people some of the mistakes we made so you don't have to do that. But now, like, she jokes with me a lot because I found that to get my best sleep, I like put earplugs in, but like I put earplugs in. We're on like bedtime is like on time. We're prioritizing like our 8 hours of sleep, which you have to because we're not just individual contributors anymore, where we're just, you know, going till the end of time, just wrapping a car after a car after a car with no human interaction. We have a team that we have to spend a lot of our time with of developing and coaching and
A
making
lot
sure they're
more
good.
problem solving
Yeah.
that's not just rap related.
Yeah. It's a lot more mental now. It's a lot
A
more
lot more
mental work.
mental, which is a different type of draining
Hmm.
for sure. And I also want to say while we're on this episode too, there were a lot of team members that we had who helped us out during all of
Oh,
these
yeah.
phases of
Absolutely.
business. And I give so much credit to them, whether they work for us, whether they don't work for us still. Um, so we didn't do this alone. We had some incredible people
Yeah.
really like tag into the journey, and some that are at amazing shops now. And yeah, so it building a team is huge, and
Mm.
surrounding yourself with the right people. And that has always been part of the journey. Whether we've done it right or wrong, we've definitely made our mistakes, and
Yeah.
we'll touch on that. And that'll be multiple episodes of
That's pretty much the point of this entire podcast. We're just going to talk about all our
all of our
mistakes.
mistakes. If there is a mistake, we have
We,
made it, and we probably made it a few times
yeah.
to like really get it in our head. Like, yeah, that one was wrong. We
Yeah.
shouldn't have done that one.
I would say we're just now getting good enough to be proactive of like, that's probably going to be a mistake we're going to make. So let's do some studying and research to,
And even then, we still mess things
yeah,
up.
and even then we'll mess it up a little bit. But
So
yeah,
awesome. And then our systems. How are our systems looking in our business now?
our systems and processes, not to toot our own horn, but are phenomenal. And it's a work in progress. So we're always tweaking and, making them better and better and better. But I am very, very proud of our systems and processes. And I think that was always a mentality from day one was anytime there was a problem, this is like a framework, I think, of anytime there's an issue, anytime a customer's mad, it's never like a screw you to the customer. Even if like 40% of the problem is the customer, it should just be told to screw off. We always look internally of like, what 60% of that problem can we own? And then how do we systematically make sure that that problem never happens again? So,
Yeah, so a lot of it is taking the emotion out of your day to day and just looking at it from factually. What was the process? What team member wasn't trained properly? That's the other thing. You can go just yell at your team member, or you can realize, wow, I didn't train them well enough.
Mhm.
And let me adjust training, reinforce it, reteach it, and move forward that way. So it's a lot of, I think, owning specifically a wrap shop too, it's a
Yeah.
lot of just taking a lot of bullets
Yeah. And
of just
some of
being it.
those systems and processes just came from like, how do we do this more efficiently? Not all of them are like the customer got upset. So then, but obviously that's like the one that stings the most. But for example, like to your point you said earlier, like we used to not do pre and post inspection, but like that one tidbit alone, like if you're here 25 minutes into this, like when the car shows up, before you touch it, take a picture of it. And when you're done at the very end and you've parked it, take another picture of it. That right there documents, what damage condition it was in and then
And it's not
how it left.
perfect, but yeah, we started having our customers just sign off on that form and the complaints dropped instantly.
Oh, yeah, by like 80%, like
Yeah,
a
just from
ridiculous
them
amount.
signing saying, "Hey, we do complete a pre and post inspection. Like, you're always welcome to a copy of it if you want it."
And then even from that, when they do ask and they're like, "Hey, you dinged this or this was a dent or something," because they just spent thousands of dollars to reface their vehicle. Now they're going to notice imperfections.
Yeah.
To be able to pull up that, documented picture and you're like, "I hate that this has happened to you, but I can at least tell you confidently it was prior to coming here." And then internal systems, like our first employee used to like literally write on a piece of paper for her like clock in, clock outs and stuff like that, until one day we lost the sheet of paper trying to run payroll. And then it was like, okay, this system doesn't work. So,
Yeah.
that's a small thing. But
And
when you're getting started, like literally everything you do, all the way down to like how you say, hello, this is performance wraps, like that needs a system and a process.
And the
So
other
how
thing
do
to
we do
note
that?
too is the systems that we even made a year ago started breaking recently.
Yeah, they break
So
at
your
volume with
jobs kind of
scale.
change as you get more established. I'm sure we'll have an episode on government contracts.
Yeah.
That completely broke our system.
Yep.
When you started having fleets of 30 buses, we did not have an accurate system to manage that. And it took a lot of crashing and burning, not even on the wrap side, just in the preparing, planning, quoting,
Hmm.
receiving final payment side. So that's a key thing to note here as well, is I'm sure even as this podcast evolves, we'll probably say something today that in a year we're like, oh, that doesn't even work
Yeah,
anymore.
like it used to
So,
work, or it worked until you do $250,000 in sales. It
and
works until
there's
you do
also a
three
changing,
quarters, and then it breaks because
right.
it's getting pressure tested.
There's also a changing landscape too with like AI and things
Yeah,
like that. So there's so many more resources now than there even were a year,
yeah.
2 years ago. So awesome. So kind of wrapping up where we're going here with today's episode. So if you could go back in time and give yourself one piece of advice, what do you think that would be to that 2017 Andrew?
Um, you can't do it alone.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I only had one.
Saying it because I'm here.
Yeah, myself. Uh, yeah. I mean, you say I only had one. I would say that was the biggest one that it had the click for me as we've gone over the years. Because in the beginning, I mean, I think I literally was known for the catchphrase of like, I don't really give a crap whether you're here or not. I'm getting to where I'm trying to go. And like,
That was Andrew's mentality.
yeah,
And it took a lot of sidebars of being like, you cannot have a team and tell them that.
yeah,
But he was very, I'm getting here with or without you, which is good,
yeah,
but it doesn't exactly keep people around you that want to help you when you have that mentality.
yeah,
So I definitely give you kudos for coming out to the other side
yeah.
of that for sure.
So I would like to reverse that. What is yours? If you could go back
My
in
one
time and
piece of
yeah,
advice. Um, I think specifically for my role, it took me a long time to take ownership of performance wraps. So even if you've probably talked to me at a conference like at RapsCon or SEMA, I feel like I've always kind of stood a little bit behind you. And it just felt like for so long, like, oh, this is Andrew's business. I'm just temporarily here. And it took me a long time to realize if I keep having this, I'm temporarily here mindset, we're not going to get anywhere. So it took me a long time to realize like I deserve to have a voice and say my side. And one of the biggest reasons was because in the conversations with people at these conferences, most people only want to talk about install, which is my absolute least
Oh,
favorite
yeah.
thing. I hate installing, so I know how to install, not enough to be like amazing at it, but I can get the job done.
She's way better than you think she is by that. But
I learned out of just complete
yeah,
like I had to.
we had to pay a
It wasn't
bill.
exactly a skill I wanted to learn. It's not something I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
I could do that. It's just so random. And so, anyway, I had such a hard time connecting with other people at conferences because one of the first questions they would say is, like, what's the coolest car you've wrapped? And I just hated that question because I'm like, why don't you ask me how the business is going and what employees are like? And so I started trying to initiate conversation. And one of the things that I've personally been taking to heart is figuring out how to attract employees, retain employees. How can I give the best possible employment experience to anyone on the team? And so for a while there at every conference, I was going up to everybody, just, hi, how are you? I'm Tanner. What are your employees like?
Hmm.
How many do you have? How are things going? And we'll have whole episodes on that as well. But I'm kind of starting to find my voice and realizing if I don't want to talk about wrapping a car, then why don't I initiate a conversation that's not about wrapping the car? So that's on me. It's not on anyone else. So my encouragement is if you're the lady in the relationship, step up, own it, you're important too. And I'm sure odds are you're the one with the attention to detail that's catching all the little things that are slipping. So don't underlook that. Don't underestimate yourself in that.
Couldn't do it
So
without you.
thank you. Same here. And what do you hope is one takeaway that our new potential listeners get from this specific podcast or this episode, I should say?
If you feel like it's crashing and burning and you don't know what you're doing,
Like and subscribe.
like and subscribe. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Don't we all? Like
Yeah, absolutely.
that's the one thing I've learned in entrepreneurship is that nobody knows what they're doing. They have to start and learn and iterate, and that's what this podcast is for. So
And I don't think our story is unique in the rap industry
I don't think
at
so.
all. So it's funny because when we tell it at networking meetings with other people in different industries, they're like, wow, that's insane. But we go to the rap industry and I'm on a futon too.
Mhm.
And I have no employees and we work 40-hour weeks.
Yeah,
We don't take Christmas off. So
and that's not
this
it's not
shows for
sustainable.
you.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not fun. You can't tell me that it's fun. If you think it's fun, I don't know. I guess we're cut from a different cloth, but
If you
hopefully we
think
can
it's
get you some
fun,
time
please
off.
go to performancewraps.com and you hit the apply now button.
Totally. Well, awesome. Well, that wraps up our very first episode of just kind of our backstory. And yeah, we're looking forward to getting some more episodes out. We're hoping to do 2 a week, and there'll be individual episodes that will help you on building your systems and your businesses, and also a little bit of maybe relationship and personal advice at the same time. So make sure you follow us along and follow
Yeah,
the podcast, and we'll catch you next time.
absolutely. Thanks for tuning in.